not for 2 years, for 10 years, really, maybe longer, from in America since at least the Obama re-election campaign, if not earlier, there has been a concerted effort through the media and our university elites to blame, demoralize, and emasculate men, especially men that would be considered high value targets, right? Like you're rich white males, you're this, you're that, right? Whatever. People that have been successful, right? The idea that nobody rich did it without hurting somebody else. The idea that any success has come on the backs of other people, and those other people always happen to be people of color, or they happen to be, people with alternative genders or alternative sexual lifestyle. The othering, the plight of the proletariat bullshit has now had a generation of young men, 2 generations of young men come through the school system being told that they are the problem with everything wrong. They're demoralized. Everything that's wrong in this world is your fault. Everything that's happened bad is because of you and your ancestors. You owe these people something. Take a step back. Let everybody have what you want, because you don't deserve it and they do. And then on top of it, we've told an entire generation of women that you need to make as much money as men, but also you need to date a man who makes more money than you, is taller than you, bigger and stronger than you. So if the woman is making more money and she's more educated, all right, and she needs to date somebody who makes more money and is more educated, what's happening to the 90% down here?
Maybe they need to step their games up.
Maybe they need to step their games up, but also somebody is going to come and tell them, you 90%, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's these evil women. It's not your fault. It's this evil system. It's not your fault. The Matrix is fucking lying to you. And he's right. So those people are going to say, thank you. Tell me more. You're right. It's not me. It's you. You're right. It's not me. It's this system. And those crumbs of truth, those specks of truth, they feel them in their soul because they believed them. They just needed somebody to say it, somebody to take the authority and say it. All right. And now that he says it, whatever wrong he did, they're able to say, of course they want to drag him down. It's the same people that wanted to keep me down will do anything to keep him down. Right? We've seen this. This is cult of personality. What makes Andrew Tate different is that he wanted this. He engineered his rise. He understood exactly what he was doing with Top G University, and he invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into his brand. He wanted this.
Let's roll the next clip, because that'll keep this going with the Andrew Tate stuff.
Okay.
Andrew Tate's core message is respect yourself. Act like you're worth something. Achieve something. Do something. Get the fuck off the couch. Put down the porn. And I feel like that's the greatest message that anyone could give. It just tells you everything about the people in charge, that's threatening. How is that threatening?
Yeah.
That's self-improvement. Now, you may not agree with or understand some things that Tate says, which is where I am. Like, what? The point is, what is he, underneath it all, what is he saying? He's saying, respect yourself. You are worthy of respect. Live in a way where others will respect you. That is the most needed message anyone can hear.
So I unashamedly like Tucker Carlson. I listen to Tucker Carlson. I like Tucker Carlson's worldview. But the Andrew Tate interview, the almost 2-hour one that he did on X, formerly Twitter, was disappointing because he allowed Andrew Tate to lie to him and run PR for the first 30 minutes. You got to skip the first. Oh, yeah. It's just flat to what Candice was talking about before. He allowed. Now, it's not, we can argue whether or not it's his job to push back or whatever, because he really just wanted to get to, the second and the third parts of the interview, which were very interesting. But the first third of the interview is just Andrew Tate running a complete counter narrative on everything that's ever been said. And unfortunately for Andrew Tate, the internet never forgets. And within 2 hours of that interview being posted, there was his own words refuting what he had said on the Tucker interview. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts on that, Candice?
Yeah, and I do think it's your job to push back, especially when you have someone that has such serious allegations. And then he sits there on this podcast and he's like, well, he's so admirable. Live respectfully. Is it respectful to traffic women? Is it respectful to steal from women? Is it respectful to make a lot of money off of them doing explicit work? Because that alone is...
The first two, definitely not.
You know, it's crazy. Like if you're making your money off of women and then taking that money.
But the third one, if he's like facilitating like a platform or something, you know what I mean, for them to do certain things, and he's helping out in that.
But then he's saying, don't watch porn. How is that not hypocritical?
Well, I feel like for this, I look at this where there's people who aren't achieving anything, aren't aspiring for anything, or maybe they're wishing and hoping, but they're not taking action. They're laying down and jerking their little dicks, and you know what I mean, then and doing really nothing in their life. While instead, lately I've been. And that goes back to the Napoleon Hill, like the Think and Grow Rich stuff, where they talk about sexual transmutation, where if instead of taking that energy, where they're just gonna, you know what I mean, they can channel that energy into something more productive, something where they can earn respect. They can become a high value person. I don't think he's wrong about that stuff, and I think hopefully that'll inspire people to get up off of their bed and off the computer. For whatever they're using it for, whether it's porn, porn sexually, or it's like mind porn, like junk food for your brain, just flipping through Instagram, you know what I mean, reading stupid things and going out and actually trying to benefit the world and benefit themselves and their people, their families.
Yeah, but you have to pass the litmus test. And if you're telling people to lead a life worth of respect, and then meanwhile you are holding women hostage and you're holding their passports and then you're stealing from them, there's nothing to be respected in that. So you can go, it just doesn't make sense.
He definitely seems to be not the perfect messenger.
Certainly not. Certainly not.
So I have to use your own advice, and I have to push back against you. Like, you have an issue with Andrew Tate and trafficking women are working, but you owned an agency in the industry, right? So I mean, at the same time, you profited off of.
No, I didn't. I can show you. We were in the red every single month, and that's probably why we closed up shop. Like, I did not make a profit. It's very hard to make a profit off of those. So that's probably how he justified it. But I can show you my fucking books. We did not profit off of any of it, and we were also providing a service. I had none of the logins. I didn't own anything. I was not in charge of paying anyone. They paid us. There wasn't any like me locking them out if they weren't any good girls or however he worded it. So with the agency that we had, one of our biggest points driving home was sovereignty. Like, how can you be in charge? How can you have full agency over your content? You made a decision that is going to exile you out of a lot of communities, a lot of dinner tables, and that fucking sucks, but you have to own it. How can we make sure that you have longevity, how that you invest your money properly? We were having girls buy crypto and like teaching them a little bit about investing. We had other people launching e-commerce shops. Like, we were teaching them how to diversify. So very different than what he was doing, which is essentially a warehouse with a whole bunch of little rooms inside of it and these filthy couches and these women that are working for 12, 15 hours straight, and then he's getting 80% of the money. So no, I had an agency, but it was not the fuck what he was doing.
Interesting. Who is paying for this stuff? Where is the majority of if prostitution, they'd be called Johns, right? Like who is where is the marketplace for this?
Everywhere.
It's completely
maybe
global.
These are the guys he's talking to too. The guy he seeds the guys who he was making money off, and maybe he's changing his, trying to help those generations. You know what I mean? Trying to help those people who who fell into that shit and were giving their money.
Well, and here's the other thing too that people aren't saying. So he's trying to say that he's trying to improve the lives of young men. But at the same time, what he was doing is he was like talking to these customers that were men and like having them send their entire life savings to go meet this girl in person. I love you, baby, so much. Meet me here.
It was him and Tristan actually.
And then he just destroyed a young man's livelihood. He doesn't give a shit about men.
But maybe it's almost like a reformed drug dealer thing. Where if they were selling the drugs but now they're like, don't do drugs.
Takes all your money. What have you learned?